Channel Sports Central will be covering NFL game preview and prediction on the 2021 wildcard round matchup between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns, two teams that have had good seasons, as the Steelers, of course, coming into this game as a 12-4 team, and this is the first time the Browns have been in the playoffs in nearly 2 decades. The Browns had the longest drought of being in the playoffs heading into the season, but the Browns have finally snapped that streak, and they've got a shot to play in the playoffs as an 11-5 team, so it should make for quite a matchup here. We're bringing over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with their team trends. Last game for Pittsburgh, they lost to Cleveland 22-24, and vice versa for Cleveland. They beat Pittsburgh 24-22 in the Week 17 matchup. Both teams did play each other, so it's going to be kind of an odd game for both these teams, considering both teams already played each other just a week ago, and the game was in Cleveland, so this time it's going to be in Pittsburgh, so we will see a bit of a difference there, but still, this is going to be a big matchup here in this wild card round matchup here, because the Steelers, they got to make some adjustments here because they lost to the Browns just a week ago, and they got to make sure to figure out how they can beat them. But then again, the Steelers did bench a few players just to kind of ride out the rest of the season and make sure no one gets hurt. So the Steelers did not put their full potential into that game against the Browns. But definitely, I still think the Steelers have got a genuine shot at making a deep playoff run, considering how they've played over the course of the season. This game is going to be on Saturday, January 10th, 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time in Pittsburgh, so the Steelers will be the home team. Spread currently says Steelers by 6. ESPN FPI is also going on Pittsburgh's side, 68%. Then your Vegas prediction is going to be 36-30. Current projected score there heading towards Pittsburgh. Here's your stat comparison for this game. These are your top performers on both sides. Steelers have got Ben Roethlisberger, who's going to be in this matchup. He's put up 3,800 yards in the season with 33 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. He's actually had a really good season for Pittsburgh, considering his age and everything. This is one of Big Ben's last really good seasons. Considering he could easily be out of the league within 3 seasons. So really for Ben Roethlisberger here, this is going to be a big postseason for him, as this is one of his last shots to make a deep playoff run and possibly a Super Bowl run. So he's going to be super motivated, I'm sure. He also got a good running back in James Conner. He's kind of had an underwhelming season. James Conner coming into the season was one of the projected top running backs in the entire league, and this season it's been kind of a different story. Even though he's dealt with some nagging injuries, he's definitely has been kind of an underwhelming player, but he still has put up nearly 1,000 yards of offense with 6 touchdowns. Top receiver is actually Deontay Johnson on the Pittsburgh side right now with 938 yards and 7 touchdowns. Chase Claypool, the rookie, is not far behind him with 889 yards with 11 touchdowns. And then Juju Smith is the third receiver with just over 800 yards and 9 touchdowns. As for the Browns side, they got Baker Mayfield, has put up nearly 3,500 yards, or nearly 3,600 yards on the season, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and Baker Mayfield has had a huge impact on this Browns team, and I definitely think the Browns have finally found their long-term quarterback in Baker Mayfield. The thing is, for Cleveland, that's been such a struggle over the past few years is the quarterback situation. We see several great expected great players go through Cleveland and completely have a terrible short career in the end. Johnny Manziel would be a perfect example. We've seen Kaiser go through there, all sorts of quarterbacks, and Baker Mayfield came through, and it looks like they finally found their good passer, so that's really good for them especially. As for the running back core, they're doing really good there this season too. They got Nick Chubb, has put up over 1,200 yards with 12 touchdowns. Kareem Hunt is back with over 1,100 yards with 11 touchdowns. Big comeback out of him. And then the receiving core, you got Jarvis Landry, who's put up over 800 yards with 4 touchdowns, and then Rashard Higgins with just right around 600 yards. Here's some key points for this one. Browns did win this matchup in Week 17. Definitely something you do have to note here coming into this matchup. Steelers have overall been better over the course of the season. I do think we can agree about that. If you look at the Steelers, this was a team that many people did call overrated when they went on their huge winning streak of being 11-0 at one point this season. But the Steelers, still 11-0 in the NFL is extremely impressive, and I don't care about the Steelers and how they've not been as good down the stretch. Starting at 11-0 really shows your potential in the NFL. The NFL, it's different than college football in the factor there, or that you've got several teams that are playing with professional players here, and the skill level is a lot more even in comparison to college football. So to start 11-0 in the NFL is extremely impressive, and the Steelers even being able to do that in the first place was very impressive. But this is a team that, if you look at them down the stretch, they've been 1-4 in their last 5 games. That is definitely not a good look for the Steelers heading into the playoffs. But if you look at the Browns here, they're arguably the better team right now. If you look at the Browns down the stretch, they're 3-2 in their last 5 games. But then again, the Steelers are 1-4 in their last 5 games. So really, I mean, if we're talking realistically here, I mean, the Steelers have shown a better amount of upside, but I think the Browns, honestly, if the Browns win this matchup, they've got a better chance of making a deeper run than the Steelers do. But I mean, the thing is about the Browns here is that, I mean, it's going to be tough for this team to beat the Steelers 2 straight weeks in a row. I mean, like, especially after having that great accomplishment of making it to the playoffs. Like, the Browns, if we're being totally honest right now, there's very few players in this Browns team, if any, that have been into the playoffs before. So, I mean, this is going to be a whole new experience for the Browns organization in general, and really for the Steelers. Steelers have been the better team over the course of the season. If we're looking at the record here, 12-4, and that's why I got to go with the Steelers in this game. Final score is going to be 27-24. Steelers will win it. I hate to crush the dreams of Browns fans here, but I definitely think the Browns are a great team. 11-5 once again. I mean, this is the best season that we've seen Cleveland have in nearly 2 decades. I mean, good for them on having the great season, but I just don't see the Browns beating the Steelers 2 straight weeks. Like, I think the Steelers are going to come back, and they're going to have Ben Roethlisberger back in this matchup. Like, let me remind you, I mean, if we're being totally honest here, Rudolph is the Steelers' backup quarterback, and honestly, he's pretty horrible. I mean, he is not a very good quarterback if we're being totally honest here, and so for the Steelers to lose that game was somewhat expected, but I mean, they're going to have their starting quarterback back in this game, and the Steelers in general are going to have all their main players out and ready to go. So I think the Steelers are going to come back and get a big win here, and this is going to send them to the divisional round. Pittsburgh wins the game 27-24. Probably will be 60% towards Pittsburgh, so I do think the Steelers have got a decent chance of winning. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game. Score predictions, all that, let me know down below. I mean, personally for me, if we saw the Browns make it to the divisional round, even the AFC Championship game, that would be an outstanding story for sure. But I just don't see that happening with the Browns this season. I think next season maybe there's a chance that we see the Browns make a deep playoff run, but this is just their first season back into the playoffs, and you got to take it one step at a time. But that being said, once again, that wraps up my prediction on this one. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you guys all later.